Hi everybody, TJ Mack Vintage Cards and Nostalgia here, and in today's video I'm going to talk about these three cards right here that I recently added to my collection, and these are what I consider to be art cards, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit. One of my 2023 collecting goals was to add more cards to my collection that I feel are expressions of art in some way, be it a photograph here like that Dave Osborne, or design like the Terry Sawchuk, or just a beautiful portrait like this Roy Sievers card. And I'm just going to talk a little bit about each of them and just tell you why I truly thought these would be good additions to my collection. I view my acquisitions a lot of time as I treat my card room like a gallery where I'm just showing off different pieces of artwork or history or those things that have a nostalgic value to me. And that's why I put in the title of this video that I'm cardboard art shopping at my favorite gallery, which is eBay, which is where I buy a lot of my cards, because that's how I view some of my acquisitions, as they're true works of art that just move me in some way. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that right now. And the first card we're going to talk about is this 51 Bowman Roy Sievers. Now, this would be an example of an art card that is a beautiful rendition of a portrait with a clean and sharp image, as you can see on this card. And it has a section of what is likely Sportsman Park, home of the St. Louis Browns and Cardinals during that era. And I've been searching for a card of a St. Louis Brown player for quite a while that really captures the uniform that they wore at that time. Now, we know that baseball is a timeless sport and that the game at its core has remained essentially the same. You have a bat, a ball, and a glove. There's a diamond-shaped infield with 3 bases and a home plate. And then the rest of the field is green with clean white lines establishing the boundaries of play. However, though at its core, baseball is pretty much the same game, the players, the stadiums, the fans, and the way the game is consumed is ever-changing. And I think this Browns card is a nice slice of time. The St. Louis Browns were around from 1902 to 1953, and in that history they won only one American League pennant, and it was in 1945 when many of the game's most talented players were away at war, which leveled the playing field throughout baseball. Now, I want you to take a moment to look at this card. To me, it captures the Browns' cap and jersey perfectly. The St. Louis script, you can see the STL at the front of his cap there, and then you got the brown brim, and then you have the wool jersey, which those jerseys were not very forgiving in the hot sun. And then you can see here those jerseys, when they wore them, they would retain a lot of the sweat of the players, and they'd get real heavy on them. And then you can see here, though, on the jersey, it's got the brown and the black piping, and in the top there, you can see the words Browns, R-O-W, starting to peek up, and it's got that shadow lettering there, which I like. But one of the coolest features, which is, I guess, a subtle feature, is the zipper that you can see right at the collar there in the middle of the jersey that a lot of the teams wore back then. And I just think it's a throwback to me of an era that's here no longer, and that's what I really love about this card. It just captures that uniform and that time so well. Now, Roy Sievers was not well known really with the Browns as he was with the Washington Senators. He did have some success with the team, and he was one of the best sluggers of the era. Now, it's fitting to me that Sievers was a St. Louis native, and he got to play with the hometown Browns, and I think that's really special. I think growing up in that area that he actually got to play for the team. He won the Rookie of the Year in 1949, and then he struggled for 4 seasons, and he suffered a pretty bad shoulder injury. He was then traded to the Senators in 1954, and he became a star at first base with the Senators. Casey Stengel said that he had one of the sweetest right-handed swings that he ever saw. Sievers led the league in home runs with 42 and RBIs with 114 in 1957, and he was known to hit many of his home runs over the 350-foot wall in Washington's Griffith Stadium, and it was known as Sieversville. He finished his career with 318 home runs and 1,147 RBIs. It was just a little profile of the player, and I'm just happy to have somebody like him in my collection. Just a beautiful card. Love these 51 Bowman cards. A little bit of wax staining on the back, but doesn't take away from the card in my view at all. Just beautiful. Now, next up, we have a 1961 Topps Terry Sawchuk, and this is a card I've had on my list to get for a very long time, and I wanted to find just the right example to add to my collection. And this is an area that draws my attention. It's the card design that I just love about this issue, and it very much complements the player's image. Now, I think this hockey set is one of the most beautiful from a design standpoint. You have the yellow and red wallpaper, as I call it, in the background, and you can see the Detroit Red Wings logo there. And then you have Sawchuk with the rich and vibrant red hockey sweater and pants, the classic goalie equipment there. And I see this card, and I think of a classic red 57 Chevy with the yellow flames flickering on the hood and the sides of the car. And this was the heyday of the auto industry of Detroit, and this awesome card of Sawchuk just connects with me when I look at it. And Sawchuk was arguably one of the best goalies of his era. He played from 1949 to 1970. He won 4 Stanley Cups, made 7 All-Star teams, and won 4 Vezina trophies, which were given at that time to the team goalies who allowed the fewest goals in the league. Just a fantastic player, and I just love having this card in my collection. Now, as beautiful as it is from the front, it's a pretty simple design in the back. And you can see there's got a little cartoon, talks about his record in the 60-61 season. It just gives you some little instructions on the bottom. I just love this set, though. It's got so many bright and beautiful colors in it, and I've been adding some cards to it, or from it, to my collection over time. Now, those who regularly watch my channel know I have an affinity for the 1975 Topps football set. And here's a card depicting Dave Osborne. Now, there are several reasons why I like the set, but one of the big ones is the game action photography. And I was drawn to this Osborne card for that very reason. Now, he was a good fullback. He played with the Vikings from 1965 to 1975, finished his career with the Packers in 1976. He rushed for over 4,000 yards and made a Pro Bowl. He scored the only touchdown in the Vikings' blowout loss to the Chiefs in Super Bowl IV. But what I like about this card is not that. It's how the crowd in the back does not have very rich colors, as you can see, and the game portion of the photo does. You can see the vibrant yellow, blue, and white of the Rams uniform, and then the vivid purple jersey of the Vikings, and you got that yellow striping going down his leg. You see the dirt of the uniforms that I just love on the cards from that era. Takes me back to being a kid again. And you can see here Osborne powering his way through the Rams tacklers. Now, I believe this photo was taken from a game in 1974, the NFC Championship game, and the Vikings won that game 14-10, and Osborne scored a touchdown and had 76 yards rushing. Just love this card, love what it brings to my collection. I'll flip it over, you can see the back. Back's not quite as nice as the front, but just a cool little back of a football field there with a scoreboard and the goalpost and the vital statistics and game statistics. So there you have it, 3 cards that I just love having in my collection. My room is like an art gallery to me with all my display cases, and these cards just fit right in with that and what I'm trying to do with parts of my collection. I also buy cards not just for artistic appeal, but also for history and nostalgic feel. But these cards are true works of art in my view, and sometimes all those feelings do cross over, as we know. So now I'm going to show off a couple magazines from my father-in-law's collection. The first magazine is this February 1977 Sport magazine showing the great Dr. J getting ready to dunk one right through. And here he is with the Philadelphia 76ers, those beautiful blue uniforms of the day. You can see him got the knee braces on his knees, playing against the Atlanta Hawks there. Just a wonderful image. The second cover is from March 1975, and here's Dr. J with the ABA. You got the real cool ABA ball there. He's with the Nets at the time. And Sport magazine would do these really fun covers, especially in the mid-70s, showing players just doing different things. Like I have one with Tom Seaver as an artist and Reggie Jackson as a general, like General Patton, with pearl-handled pistols holstered next to him on each hip. And it's just that kind of stuff that really adds some fun to the covers and just captures the era, I think. And here you got Dr. J performing surgery on a basketball, it looks like, or removing a basketball. Fun cover from 1975. So that's all I have today. I appreciate everybody's time and just taking a moment to join me here as we look at some very cool baseball cards and football and hockey cards. And I just hope everybody has a great weekend and enjoys the Super Bowl.